a little sneak peek ahead into today's video, we have Harry Potter and Stormlight Archive. And in today's video, we're just going to do a little... That is right, today I am going to be sorting Stormlight Archive characters into Harry Potter houses, and it's going to be a great time. We're going to have some controversial opinions. Feel free to roast me / disagree with me in the comments. Drop a dislike if you dislike the video. Let's get straight into it. Alright, so before I get into actually sorting the characters in the book, I am going to go through and read what each Harry Potter house is described as, the traits that the members of the houses are described as having. I want you guys to know what exact criteria I'm using to sort these characters, and also it's been a hot minute since I've read the Harry Potter series. We're talking like a good few years. It's been a while. Alright, so we'll start out with Hufflepuff. Hufflepuff is the most inclusive among the 4 houses, valuing hard work, dedication, patience, loyalty, and fair play, rather than a particular aptitude in its students. Hufflepuffs were known to have a strong moral code and a sense of right and wrong. Hufflepuffs were usually accepting of everyone. Gryffindors. Besides daring, nerve, and chivalry, Gryffindor is also known for bravery. Their animal is a lion, and their element symbol is fire. Though some characters find them arrogant, it's easy to see why so many Gryffindors are classic heroes. They have all the qualities of a stereotypical protagonist. Ravenclaw. Ravenclaw House prizes learning, wisdom, wit, and intellect in its members. Thus, many Ravenclaws tend to be academically motivated and talented students. They also pride themselves on being original in their ideas and methods. It's not unusual to find Ravenclaw students practicing especially different types of magic that other houses might shun. Slytherins. Slytherins tend to be ambitious, shrewd, cunning, resourceful, strong leaders, and achievement-oriented. There was an old folk saying that dark wizards came from Slytherin. For Slytherin in this video, I'm less going to be focusing on the whole all evil wizards come from Slytherin, and more just be focusing on the positive traits. So their ambition, their cunning, their resourcefulness. So if I assign a character to Slytherin in this video, that is not a bad thing. I need you to understand that, because there are several characters that I do assign to Slytherin in this video. Before we start the video, you guys want to try to guess what house I'm in? No, how'd you know it was Ravenclaw? Moving on. Alright, I think I'm going to start at the bottom of my list where I have the characters that don't show up quite as often, because I copy the list, so it starts with the most important characters and moves down to the less important characters. Also, I would like to note that this video is going to be as spoiler-free as it can be. Of course, I'm talking about the characters and their character traits. I'll try to exclude events, for the most part, that are very spoilery. So that way, even if you've only read The Way of Kings or something, you're still welcome to watch the video. Starting us off, we have Eshonai. Eshonai I felt like was pretty easy. She is a very warrior type character. We picked that up pretty quick. She was already shown to be very brave in the flashbacks that we get from her in Rhythm of War. She was pretty easy. I went ahead and threw her in Gryffindor. Next up, we have Venli. Now, Venli was kind of an interesting one because part of me wanted to throw her in Ravenclaw since she's a very intelligent character, but in the end, after reading Rhythm of War, I decided to throw her into Slytherin. This is largely because I can't really get into spoilers, but you see in the flashbacks how ambitious she was when it came to the things that she was doing with Spren. I can't really say a lot more than that, but if you read Rhythm of War, I suspect you'll understand why Venli is put into Slytherin. If you haven't read Rhythm of War, you probably don't know that much about Venli, and this probably doesn't mean very much to you. Next up, we have Moash. I can't get into spoilers, but I did go ahead and throw Moash in Slytherin. Really, if we're being honest, he probably wouldn't even go to Hogwarts. He probably would have been expelled at some point, but no spoilers. If you still like Moash. Next up, we have Sadeas. And I was a little questioning this one for a little bit, but in the end, I did decide to put him in Slytherin, mostly because of the cunning trait. Sadeas is shown to be very cunning and very intelligent in that sort of way, not necessarily a bookish sort of smarts, but in a... Sadeas, I put him in Slytherin. Next up, we have Szeth. Szeth was kind of hard for me. There were a couple I was able to eliminate off the bat, like Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw, I ended up sort of doing process of elimination with this one. I didn't really feel like he would make a good Slytherin either, so that left Gryffindor. I don't feel like he fits perfectly into the Gryffindor house, but I feel like that's the one where he fits the closest. Again, we don't know a whole lot about Szeth or his backstory at this point, since I believe that book 5 of the Stormlight Archive is going to be Szeth's book, but I just ended up putting him into Gryffindor because it just seemed like the best option out of the 4, even though none really fit perfectly. Next up, we have Taravangian. Right off the bat, I wanted to throw Taravangian into Ravenclaw because he is shown to be a super intelligent character on specific days. But then I thought about it a little bit harder. I am going to get into spoilers here for a second. If you haven't read Rhythm of War, jump to this time up here. But I'm going to get into spoilers with Taravangian real quick. It is shown throughout the Oathbringer and Rhythm of War that Taravangian has this huge ambition to save the whole world. I mean, literally, as soon as he merges with Odium, he become at the end of the chapter, it's and he was going to save everyone. He is so incredibly ambitious with his ambitions to save as many people as possible. That was literally the gift he asked for from cultivation, the boon or whatever you call it. So, no more spoilers. I did decide to put Taravangian into Slytherin. If you don't understand that yet, I'm sorry. It'll make sense eventually. Next up, we're going to go through some of the bridgemen. First up, we have our boy Lopin. Who doesn't love Lopin? Am I the only one who, whenever Lopin comes up, I just can't help but think of him as this guy from Ant-Man? His name's Michael Pena or something. Is that just me? Please tell me that's not just me. It looks like I didn't end up sorting him. All it says on my document is if the Weasley twins were to be combined into one person. I guess that puts him in Gryffindor, if he's the Weasley twins, but the Stormlight Archive version? Comment down below if you have a good case for what house Lopin should be in. I would love to see it. Next up, we have Teft. There is only one character on this entire list that I put 2 traits, or 2 houses down for, and that was Teft. No spoilers. So the 2 houses that I put down for Teft were actually Hufflepuff and Gryffindor. I feel like this makes a lot of sense to most people. Teft doesn't particularly book smartish in any way, and he's also not super ambitious or cunning. He's shown on several occasions to be very brave, and he stands by Kaladin's side in a lot, but at the same time he's also so accepting and just loyal to Kaladin and his fellow bridgemen. And so I feel like I couldn't really pick one of those 2 houses to put him in. I suppose if I had to pick one, I would probably go Gryffindor or Hufflepuff. Comment down below which house you think Teft belongs in, because I don't know. Next up, we have Rock. Rock was pretty easy. I feel like Rock goes in Hufflepuff. He's not a warrior type, nor is he particularly book smart or ambitious and cunning. So I just put him in Hufflepuff. Aha! Next up we have Hoid. All it says on my document is all of the above. And I feel like that pretty much fits. I mean, Hoid is very loyal and accepting to people. Well, maybe not loyal. He's very accepting of others, and he shows so much kindness to Shalon and Kaladin on several occasions. He is an incredibly cunning fellow. We all know that. So there's your Slytherin. He's very witty and intelligent. His name is literally Wit in the book. And it's also in some of the other Cosmere stuff. It's shown that he's pretty brave. I suppose Gryffindor's the one he probably fits in the least, but I'd still say he fits into it in some ways. So Hoid is just all of them. Kaladin. Gee, I wonder where I'm going to put Kaladin. Do I need to explain this one? Probably not. Alright, next up, this is like sort of spoilers for Oathbringer. Up through Oathbringer. Sort of. If you haven't read Oathbringer yet, or you don't want even like the sort of spoilery stuff, skip to this time. I am going to get into spoilers starting now. So the next three we're going to do are Shalon, Vale, and Radiant. I decided, I was trying to figure out which house to put Shalon in, and I was really, really confused until I came up with the idea to just treat them as three separate people. So it got pretty easy once I decided to put them all into separate houses, so I ended up putting Vale in Slytherin because she's very cunning and resourceful. I put Radiant into Gryffindor because she is Shalon's like warrior persona, person that's supposed to be brave and know how to fight. And then I put Shalon into Hufflepuff because she's very loyal, especially to people like Adolin, and she's just very loving and accepting of others. And she's very loyal to her family. You see that a lot in the first book. Spoilers done. Moving on. Next up we have Renarin. Renarin was a tough one because we haven't seen a lot of Renarin so far. It's like, he's one of the Colins, so you feel like he should be an important character, but we've seen so little of him. Even though he's played like sort of a major role in a lot of the books. I went ahead and put Renarin in Hufflepuff since he seems to be a very loyal and accepting person. He's very loyal to his family. He just seems very kind, and he doesn't seem to fit in any of the other three houses. Ravenclaw would be the next best fit, I suspect, but he's not particularly brave or cunning and ambitious. So Renarin goes in Hufflepuff. Oh, I have Shalon on here twice. That's neat. Navani. Allow me to just... I'm going to go ahead and put on some protective gear to protect myself from the backlash that I'm going to get from this opinion. I put Navani in Slytherin. Allow me to explain. Rhythm of War spoilers coming up here. If you haven't read Rhythm of War, you probably don't even care about Navani anyways, so skip to this time now. Spoilers. In the fourth book of Stormlight, we see Navani working on this like anti-Stormlight and like anti-light project thing, and she is so ambitious, and you see this sort of cunning side come out when she's interacting with the person, the Parshendi woman that sort of plays her opposite in this book. Even in the first book, you start to see her cunning, the way that she plays romantically with Dalinar and essentially doesn't force him, but knows how to get him to make a move on her. It also says that Slytherins are supposed to be resourceful, and we see that a lot, that Navani is very resourceful and intelligent in the fourth book. The next best fit, I would say, would probably be Ravenclaw. I don't think she really belongs in Hufflepuff or Gryffindor. She just really doesn't fit in either of those houses. But I went ahead and put Navani in Slytherin. Hot take. Fight me about it in the comments. Next up, we have Adolin. Adolin's not book smart. He could fit in Hufflepuff. I considered putting him in Hufflepuff. Definitely not a Slytherin. Not cunning or really ambitious in any way. I just went ahead and put him in Gryffindor. He really could be a Hufflepuff, though, because he's so nice. I'm going to go ahead and leave him in Gryffindor for now. Comment down below if you want me to change it and put him in Hufflepuff. And in the next video I release, I'll just put myself at the beginning, putting Adolin in Hufflepuff. Next, we have probably the most obvious one in the entire book. Yasna Colin. Obviously Hufflepuff, because she's so nice. and sweet and friendly to everyone. I'm bad at this. I'm just kidding. Yasna obviously belongs in Ravenclaw. And last but not least, we have the man, the myth, the legend, the Blackthorn himself, Dalinar Kholin. Oh man, I can't get into spoilers. I put Dalinar in Gryffindor, partially because of his past, and partially because he still fits in the present. He's not the book smartish type. He's not necessarily accepting of everyone, like kind of, sort of, like, because he's nice to the dark guys, I guess, but he's not really a Hufflepuff. And he's definitely not this super ambitious, cunning person. We see that a lot in a lot of instances that I can't mention because no spoilers. That is going to be it for this video. Comment down below if there is anyone that I missed. Be sure to tell me in the comments if you agree, you disagree with where I put people in houses and things. I'm great at articulating myself. If you're interested in keeping up with what I'm reading, be sure to follow me on Instagram at RadiantReadsReviews, and I will see you all in the next video.